Next up, a big one. A very, very big one in dearly debated terms. It's Fulham versus West Brom. And by God, one of them really, really needs a win. You can see there, Fulham down in 20th. West Brom just above the relegation zone in 17th. Both without a victory, though. And are we going to get another situation like we did in the Fulham-Sheffield United game where we get an unhelpful draw? Or are we actually going to get a victory in this one for one of these teams? They both really, really need it, don't they? More signs of viability at West Brom. And I did do the watch-along for their game against Brighton. And we will be doing this game. So do come along and check that out. Less so at Fulham. But look, the trend is slightly upwards now. And we'll talk about why in just a second. Let's talk about West Brom first. And I mean, 3 draws in the last 4. That's competitive. Just missing the vital cog wins. 3-pointers. You know, if it's going to take you 4 games to score every 3 points, that's not viable when you can do it in 1 game this week. Hopefully from a West Brom point. Although we're double biased here. 2 dearly departed teams. So for either team's point of view there. Looking at West Brom on the right-hand side there, obviously poor start there, 8 goals conceded. Mad game against Chelsea where they could have won, they could have lost. They were 3-0 up, but look at the game state. They could have lost, couldn't they? Then, a defeat at Southampton was worrying, but much more stable in the last 2 games against Burnley and Brighton. And good fight back, I thought, in the second half down at Brighton. The only issue is now, in terms of the big picture and possibly West Brom avoiding relegation, you'd be looking at some of those games thinking, want 3 points against Burnley, want 3 points against Brighton. They're probably going to be direct rivals and there are going to be harder games. And in terms of Fulham, well, bad start as well for them and 10 goals down in the first 3 games there. Then much tighter, but obviously Roy the boy did a job for Crystal Palace in the last game. And just that 1 point against Sheffield United and how they are regretting that missed penalty from Mitrovic in that game. Now, let's look at the Fulham lineup. I've accused Scott Parker of throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks recently. Well, it looks like it's starting to stick now. Adarabioyo and Reeve ahead of Areola in goal with Iain and Robinson in a back 4. So the system's been changing, the shape's been changing. Is he now settling on players now? Obviously, Ruddock has been bombed out. Hector has been bombed out. Odoi, even playoff final hero Joe Bryan has been bombed out. He's got to start to stick with something now and let it develop and hopefully blossom from a Fulham point of view. Lamina started with Kearney and Anguissa. Maybe that gives a bit of protection, a bit tighter with Lamina and Anguissa. And Kearney obviously got the goal, didn't he? Can operate a bit further ahead. Lookman has been a great arrival. He's been really good. That's a one bright spot for Fulham this season. Loftus-Cheek has quality. So does Mitrovic. So is Parker now just going to stick with this and hope, look, sink or swim now. You've got to stick with something in the end. If you keep rotating all season, it's not going to work, is it? The wins aren't going to come. The stability is not going to come. So maybe he does. But very much a sense that some of the stars of last season, and even, look, I watched Knockout playing for, not that he was a star, but Knockout playing for Forest the other night, for goodness sake. Very much a sense of the squad that got Fulham up is not going to be the squad that's going to try and keep them up. In terms of West Brom, again, working towards things becoming more stable. And again, some of the players that got them up not being used. Although Semi Ajayi did come in next to Ivanovic ahead of Sam Johnston. Don't know what's happening with the Higazi thing. Bilic wasn't happy. Higazi played and then all of a sudden he was gone. So Ajayi, one of the stars of last season, does come back in. Townsend and Furlong in there ahead of maybe Gibbs and O'Shea. Livermore sitting. Don't know where Sawyers is. I assume he's injured, a star of last season. And then Gallagher and Kravinovic starting in the last game. Diangana, Pereira and Grant are the key guys. But it was the substitution and going a little bit more attacking, getting Pereira a bit more central and bringing on Callum Robinson that did for West Brom in the last game. That really, really helped. I feel that in a 4-1-4-1 with Diangana and Pereira 2 wide, your best threat can be, especially with Brighton's wing-backs and centre-backs then behind them, it quashed them out. And as soon as Matt Pereira got in that central position, things started to happen. So maybe I'm an advocate more of last season 4-2-3-1, or however, do the 4-1-4-1, but get Pereira or Diangana central, at least one of them, and that can do the damage. I guess in this game, and forgive me, I've forgotten where we're playing. We are playing at Fulham, aren't we? Yes, we are. Does that help? Are we going to get a completely unhelpful draw? You'd make West Brom slightly in a better moment, but it is at Fulham. Oh dear. I wonder whether we're going to get a very unhelpful draw in this one again, and both sides are going to be more scared to lose than going for the benefit of victory. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm predicting an unhelpful draw. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.